cats are still considered the other pet in the house. And I think that there's just a long way to go.
Welcome to the Purr podcast, your favorite feline-focused podcast, where we dive into all things feline, medicine, surgery, behavior, and of course, a sprinkle of veterinary gossip along the way.
I'm Dr. Jolle Kuppenstein, feline fanatic, surgery nerd, and self-proclaimed lover of all things awkwardly cat-related.
And I'm Dr. Susan Little, proud cat vet, podcast enthusiast, and your guide to the wonderfully weird world of feline medicine. Let's get started.
Hello, this is Dr. Jolle Kuppenstein.
And this is Dr. Susan Little. And if you're just listening on audio, I'm going to fill in for you what just happened. I stared at Jolle until he started.
Right.
It worked.
And there was no moment of hesitation.
No, you jumped right in. I saw that.
Right.
You were right on it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was right on it.
Now, but for the guests, we need to explain that Dr. Susan has a little bit of issue with intros. And we started a new year live, and there was just nothing coming out. She was just looking at deer in the headlights.
To be fair, I have had a trouble with the intros for about 8 years now.
8 years.
So it's not new.
Right.
I feel like a therapist right now.
Yes, you are.
I feel like maybe you should tell me your feelings on his communication skills. I thought this was going to be very light, but apparently I'm going to have to prescribe some homework.
I think you should get a therapist on it, actually.
It's not the worst idea. It probably shouldn't be me, though.
Okay.
It just starts with writing things down.
Since you're not a therapist, we'll let you, we always let our guests introduce themselves.
So before we do it, can we say it's a Purr podcast?
Oh, we didn't say that?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
My name is Dr. Renee Rucinsky. I am a feline specialist, board certified, American Board of Veterinary Practitioners, feline diplomate, and I am in private practice in Maryland with a primary hospital, and I see referral patients, and I also have a radioactive iodine treatment center.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I'm very tired.
Good
You want to lay down?
Maybe I should be the one.
Renee should lay down.
Yeah.
For those of you who can see the video, like we're in a hotel at the Western Veterinary Conference in Las Vegas, but I'm sitting on a sofa, so maybe we should change spots.
That's all right. Yeah, so I've known about this podcast for a long time, and Susan, I don't know how long I've known you.
Longer than the podcast.
20 years or something, and I have to say,
just been waiting.
I am so offended. I had taken you off the Christmas card list because I hadn't been invited, and now I'm going to have to redo the spreadsheet.
Gosh.
I mean, it's
causing work.
It's a lot. I know. I think this is really fun.
I have told Susan, let's invite Renee. So hesitant.
I know. That's why you keep getting Christmas cards.
Yeah, right. So the thing is, what we tend to do, like here, whenever we're at a conference, and often at this conference in Las Vegas, we spend a day or two because people are here.
Right.
And so it's the first time in a long time that you've been on a speaking schedule, and we've been podcast recording. So I sit down and I look through the schedule. See?
So what I'm hearing from you then, this is my, what I'm hearing from you is that it's my fault. That I haven't been in the right place at the right time. Yeah. Okay. All right.
There's no fault.
No, that's okay. That's all right. I'm just here
to. Do you need therapy? Maybe.
I absolutely need therapy. We're cat doctors. Of course
we don't need
therapy.
If we don't need therapy, who does? Maybe. Yeah. So you are. What are you talking about here? So you're doing some endocrine stuff.
I'm doing a lot of endocrine stuff. That's kind of my jam. I do a lot of cat things, just general cat things, but somehow along the way,
you like endocrine?
I love endo. I mean, and so much of what we do is endocrinology.
A lot of endocrine
thyroid disease, diabetes, all that stuff. And then all the weird endocrinopathies and stuff that are
practice
fun.
long enough,
you see it all, right? So I love talking about that stuff. I love, cats are hard, right? They're sharp and they're ungrateful. And there are some weeks that I just thought of this the other day when I had been in my, fourth or fifth really ungrateful cat appointment, and then I got bitten, and I never get bitten or scratched, right? I mean, we've been doing this so long, we can tell what the cats are doing. Well, I get bitten through my thumbnail. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do it, cat, do it right. So, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe this wasn't a choice. Maybe I was a really, really bad human in my previous life, and this is karma. And being a cat vet is a punishment for something. No, I don't think that's true. I think that I really do like what I do, and I'm still very much a dog person, but I like being able to provide what we as cat only places and cat specialty places we're able to offer to the cats. And as a speaker, so many people are scared of cats or literally scared of cats, both the medical part of it and the just being around a cat
in the same room.
Yeah. So if I can make things a little bit easier and they can take care of those cats better, it's like, that just makes me so happy. I feel like that's me, my community service to the profession.
That's wonderful. I think Dr. Susan forgot to tell you the one rule.
I did. Sorry, I forgot the rule.
Oh, did I talk too much?
No, that's perfect. We like to talk a lot, but the D word is not allowed.
The D word.
Yeah, the D.
3 letters begins with B.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You can say canine.
Yeah,
I can.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
but
it's
we
a
don't
test.
want to mention the
It's
lesser
a test to
species
see if you can
in
get
this
through the
podcast.
whole podcast.
Yes.
My canine fully believes that she's a cat. So
The oldest does too.
Yeah.
Is yours little?
She's about 50 pounds.
50 pounds.
Yola's
She comes to work every day.
Yola
She's
is about 1.5 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wet.
Yeah.
with a costume on.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I haven't
In a
gone
purse.
that far into a pseudo cat, but maybe I will.
Yola has cat allergies in his defense.
Yes, I do.
That's okay.
I wish I could have a cat.
Yeah, everybody does.
I know.
Or everybody should.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
I like the way you say cats are ungrateful. I like that because we have 2 canines at home, and my 2 cats in my life live in one of my hospitals, right? And my husband's a vet too, and so I've always said to him, you can save the life of a canine, and eventually, like he'll take a treat and he'll love you, most of them, right? And the cats just walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like it's about time.
It's about
right.
So I think you really have to wrap your head around the species to understand them and do well, right?
I agree, and that goes to the veterinarians that aren't comfortable with cats, calling them mean cats or angry cats or spicy and all that stuff. And I hate them too, and I get it. I totally get it, but you have to step back. It's like dealing with a client that is, so upset and all that. They're not bad people. They're just in a situation.
Most of them aren't.
Yeah, I mean, there's those few,
there's always a few.
But they're just scared, and and that's the same.
Stress,
and sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was talking about the clients, but even so.
So was I.
Yeah, I really dislike those words because they are dismissive of the underlying problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So give a couple of tips for vets that are really afraid of cats.
Send it to me. All joking aside, I'm not going to work on horses, right? They make me uncomfortable. So if you are in a practice and you really are uncomfortable with cats and you have the luxury of somebody else there that likes it, then you know what? Know your strengths. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely okay. But in general, it just takes time and repetition and patience. I think patience is one of the most important things, and
patience,
go slow and know that when you do that, the cats will respond to that and meet the cats where they are.
It also helps if you have some cat-wise people on your support team.
Without a doubt.
Right? Who,
Yeah.
like if you're kind of uncertain or weak in your skills at this point, right? You can have a support team person who can say, like, let me show you this, or here's this, or
Absolutely.
And,
the staff,
lean on them.
the staff in so many ways
They
are
handle more
way
than we
more
do.
important than
They
the
do more
doctors.
handling than we do.
Yeah.
We don't pay them enough, though.
No, not nearly enough.
You said cats are hard. I think cats are different behavior-wise, because I don't like to say they're hard behavior-wise, because that's kind of.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant medically.
But medically, they are hard. So I thought you were going to ask, like, I thought you were going to ask, like, what other words can you use when you're. So I used to say stressed a lot, and now I don't. I say distressed, and I've just made that change recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because once a day somebody's going to say to you, "I'm feeling stressed." Right? Like we use it at, like, it's a normal human condition now.
Correct.
Well, probably always was, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't sound right. So I started to say distress, because I think that's closer. They're in distress, or they're painful. Like, you say painful, you say distress. I don't like the word fractious.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to tell you, years ago, I did this consult for one of the veterinary teaching hospitals in the US, where I was just a fly on the wall for 2 days to try to give them some easily implemented tips.
Oh, what a fun thing to do.
It was a lot of fun. Did it work out really well? Well, there's limitations. But anyway, one of the things I suggested is they stop using, like, putting fractious on cages. And I got a lot of pushback from that, because their point of view was that alerts students that the cat might bite, right? And so, like, they considered it like a danger, a safety issue, right? And I'm like, wow, if that's where we are, we need to be working proactively to get away from that, right? Like, we should not have to. You should be able to say, this cat is distressed, this cat is painful.
Right.
That's
Can't you say this cat might bite?
Sure, you could, but fractious is one word.
Right.
One word.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to change the framing on that kind of language. And even just by doing that, and the fear-free program is all that, but it's not necessary for staff and everything to go through that. It's something that you model. And whenever I have a new person, or even if people call and say to my front desk, oh, this cat is, she's really mean, and
she's been kicked out of 3 other practices.
Yeah. I mean, they know to say, oh, that's so upsetting. They must have been so scared. We really try to win these cats over and show them that it's not so bad, and we'll take all the time we need with you, and all that sort of stuff. So, if it starts from when they come in the door to when they leave, it's a completely different experience, not just for the cat, but for the people as well. Which goes to, cat visits going down and all that stuff, because people, it's so it's such an ordeal sometimes to go through all that. So, but it's getting better.
Yeah, I think it is slowly. It's slowly getting better. The cat-friendly initiatives are now how old?
I don't know.
Old.
Yeah.
Old. So do you think they're still, like, making progress? Are we still, because we made a lot of progress, let's say, in the first 10 years, right? Because it wasn't a great situation. So with the type of expertise and information that got out there, I would have been shocked if it hadn't improved at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But now we're more years on. Do you think it's? Yola, he goes into vet clinics around the world at times. Like, I'm asking, so for both of you, what's your?
You go first.
Yeah, are we still improving, Renee? Do you think?
I would like to say yes, and I think the big picture of it is yes, we are improving. I think part of the challenge is individual personalities, and for those veterinarians that don't really like cats. I'm in such a weird world where, and you are too, that this is all we do, so we're like, we we happily go to work and we deal with our cats and the clients that want to be with us and all that sort of stuff. And when I go into other practices to do whatever there, just cats are still considered the other pet in the house. Mm. And I think that there's just a long way to go, even if it's a practice that has been trying to implement cat-friendly things. It's still not their primary goal. It's the other species and also. And so until it's a primary drive and not just this secondary also that we do, I think that we're always going to have a lot of room to work. And I think that there are still cat practices that fail to embrace all of the cat-friendly stuff. You know, there are still places out there that are scruffing cats. There are still places that are declawing cats. And
it's pretty much illegal across Canada now.
Where you are, yeah, but where we are, it's not.
No states at all, or a few states? Or?
A few states it's illegal, but the majority is still legal. And, you know, even though to be certified as a cat-friendly practice, finally, you know, you can't, well, I think that you can't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can't be certified as a gold practice, but you can still be certified as a silver if you're declawing.
So, but don't, sorry, A.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry for FVMA. I'm sorry.
It certainly was that way.
But that was that way.
Yes, it certainly was. Yeah.
But I think that even if a place is striving to get to that point, you really have to go all in and not say, well, we're going to be feline friendly until we can't. You know, until we decide to scruff the cat or we decide to just muscle through and all that sort of stuff. And so I think there's always room to work, both for conventional mixed practices and also still for cat practices.
What do you think, Yola?
Yeah, from my perspective, if I look globally, I am pleasantly surprised to see so many clinics that have separate entrances now, that have separate floors for cats, that have separate facilities. So people are really trying. I think it has to do with ICC and of course what
and the Feline VMA.
ICC does a great job.
And so really stimulating people to get those labels for their clinics. I was in Korea and we were in a fully cat floor. It was only for cats, which was amazing. So I think people are getting it. I think the mixed practices probably are the ones that still need to have a little work, where it is a D and cat practice, where there is still things going in between, where they don't have a really good delineation between what's happening. And so it's, so I think there's a lot of improvement. I think globally, I don't want to talk about declawing because I think it's a completely useless procedure, but it should be banned from the beginning. But and I don't know why this is so big an issue in the US. But you know, it's just I just don't get it. In the rest of the world, it is not done.
Yes,
it's a problem here. It's not a problem anywhere else in the world. So I do think that in the 10 years, 15 years that you started or you all started with it, it has made a huge change.
I'm always impressed in Asia.
Right.
So like Yola, I've been into lots of different practices in Asia. And I don't know if it's because they often build up versus out like we do. So maybe it's easier to say this is the cat floor. But it's beyond that.
Right.
They also do a really good job with messaging. So whenever I go into practice, I like to walk in the front door and just see how much is dog messaging for D, canine, how much versus cat. Like what's on the walls, what are the pictures, what do they sell?
Right. And I think that it's philosophical, right?
It is.
It's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
But you, I'm sure, have experienced this. So we get these products to use on our cats, and the companies give us marketing tools, right? And how many times are there canines on the brochures with no cats? Or like is this a hot topic?
Well, it has been.
when the monoclonal antibodies came out for arthritis, right? Fantastic addition to what we have to use. Librela had full-size posters for people to put up. Yeah. Silencia has 10 by 14. I'm like,
Yes.
It's things like that.
Canine versus feline.
Right. And I know it's financial and blah, 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 but come on.
But to some degree, it's not going to happen unless you're all in.
Unless you're all in.
You can't complain your feline market doesn't grow if you don't go all in.
Right. And they've done so much better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They've done so much better, but there's a lot of moving parts, just like in a regular practice, there's a lot of moving parts and things fall off. But we have to stay on them.
We have to keep calling them out, as Yola knows, as I do.
Yeah. Good. People nobody listens to me.
People that watch the YouTube see my face. So it's true. It's true. And I think that we were talking with the last podcast we did about the increasing numbers of cats compared to
pets.
Pets. So it's getting more
rise again,
important.
I hear.
So these companies will also recognize that.
Yeah, we hope so.
They recognize it, but I think to Renee's point is and we don't want to tar them all with the same brush, but you can find examples, right, where they want the cat market, but they don't go all in. Right. And you get in you get out what you put in. So I think we still have to keep on them.
It's still way better than 20 years ago.
I was just going to say, my gosh, we've all been in practice a long time, right? We've been vets a long time, and it's night and day. I sometimes look at younger practitioners. I think, you don't know what it was like.
Oh, right.
Oh gosh, there we go.
Like you don't know what you don't know.
Right. I changed my practice that normally when I do lectures, I start with a cat mount instead of, and that is something the last couple of years. Yeah. Because I was always the D first, and then you spend 90% of the time of your lecture on the D, and then the cat comes at the end, and now switch it around.
But that you're a really good example because you are very pro cat, Yola. You're a very pro for a surgeon, especially. You're very pro cat, but look at you, even found, and it's not intentional. Like it's something that you find. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice what I was doing.
Oh yeah, most of my slides were D's until I realized it, and that's when I started focusing. Okay, now I need to take a lot of pictures and videos of the cat because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So.
Along those lines, I've done a lot of work over the years with AHA, coming out with guidelines and things like that.
Right. You're a guideline survivor, as I like to call it.
Yes, exactly. But so the third diabetic guidelines is coming out this year, and I've worked on all three. So I don't know when it started, 2010 maybe.
Yeah, it's like that.
And the developments in treating diabetic cats are just far outpace the developments in dogs.
But before you say too much about it, because I think this is such an excellent topic for the next podcast that we're going to do with the guidelines.
Are we out of time for part one already?
We're almost out of time. So this is the cliffhanger for the next one. We're going to talk about diabetes and the guidelines. I would love that if that's possible.
I am happy to do that, but I want to tell you that this latest guide, in case somebody's not listening to the next one, this latest guidelines, I have single-handedly changed it to be the guidelines for diabetes management in cats and dogs instead of dogs and cats. Ooh. And I'm only saying the D word because it's a quote. Right. Yes. So we are making progress.
I love that.
Isn't that cool?
That is
I
good.
love that.
I feel like that's such a little win, but it's huge.
It's
so
exactly
huge.
Right. Words matter.
Yeah. So, yay.
Now I'm just,
See, we're ending this episode
I'm jealous.
all smiling.
I'm so jealous now because I'm just finalizing my book for reconstruction, and I didn't call it reconstruction in cats and the D's.
Is it too late?
Yeah, it is too late.
I mean, it's alphabetical,
I love it. It will make such a big difference. But what we did do, so because there's a lot of reconstruction techniques, and I said, I want a picture, if we have it, I want a picture of a cat in that book. So there's a lot of cat pictures now in there, which I love.
Which there didn't used to be.
Oh no.
In any surgery experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of cat pictures in there.
Yeah.
But I should have done it at the time.
Oh, well, next time.
Well done. Oh, for the fourth edition or the third edition, whatever is coming.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done.
Yep.
Well done.
Okay,
we're going to
we'll
talk
start
about
the next
diabetes.
episode on the diabetes pathway.
And
I like
I
that.
also would like to talk about chronic stress. So remind me
Oh,
that
okay.
we, because
Well,
of this stress,
Mine or the
Yeah,
cat?
us.
both as well.
Cat,
No, just
yeah.
kidding. So chronic distress, we have to call it now. But because I think it is something that we might not always recognize in our feline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good topic.
All right. So this was the Purr podcast.
It still is really.
It is.
I think it's 8 years.
8
Isn't it?
years.
It's a long time.
What are we doing with it 10 years?
I don't know. I don't know. We had a little Rio celebration
We did have that. It was
Yeah.
225.
because we started in Rio.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we started in Rio. Yeah, we'll tell you the story. Yeah, it has to do with toilets, but we'll tell you.
Right.
Yeah, so we see we need to be forward thinking.
Yes. 10
So
years.
this.
Well,
this
I'll
is the
book it
Purr
now
podcast.
because
Good,
obviously
good,
you're going to
good.
ask me
I
out.
think, maybe we should organize a cat conference for 10 years.
Okay then, get to work, Yolanda.
This is the Purr podcast, where we talk cats, laugh a lot, and learn something new every episode. Together, we bring you the latest updates, surprising cases, expert interviews, and just a touch of chaos, because nothing with cats ever goes as planned.
So whether you're a seasoned veterinary pro, a new grad, or you're just here for the cat puns, you've come to the right place.